All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're taking a closer look at the 67th chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Mulk. It's often called the Dominion, and what's so fascinating about it is how it builds this powerful, logical case for God's absolute sovereignty over, well, everything. So let's get started.
The chapter just kicks the door down with this incredibly potent statement. It's the foundation for everything that's about to come. And notice, it's not just a claim of ownership. It's a declaration of complete and total competence over that ownership. This one verse really sets the stage for the entire argument.
So, to really get this chapter's message, we're going to walk through it like a divine argument presented in 5 clear parts. We'll start with the king and his kingdom, then look at the signs of perfection in the universe. After that, we'll explore life, death, and the test, witness the great reckoning, and finally we'll be left with a really profound question.
Okay, so first things first. You can't make a case without establishing your core premise, right? And that's exactly what this first section does. It's all about defining what this absolute divine authority actually is.
The title of the chapter, Al-Mulk, tells you everything you need to know. This word gets right to the heart of it. We're not just talking about ruling in the way a king rules a country. This is about absolute, unchallenged ownership and control over every single atom in existence. Think of it this way. There are no partners, no challengers, no board of directors. It's a concept of total and complete authority.
So how is this ultimate authority proven? Well, the text basically argues that the proof is in the pudding. The one who created everything is, by definition, the one who holds power over it all. I mean, the very act of creation is the ultimate evidence of ownership, right? So the premise of perfect sovereignty has been established. Now the argument needs evidence to back it up. And this is where the chapter invites us to basically become detectives and examine the world for ourselves.
The chapter points to these grand cosmic signs as exhibits A, B, and C. It talks about the heavens being built in these perfect layers, the sky being decorated with stars that are called lamps, and then it brings it right down to earth with the simple yet kind of miraculous sight of birds just hanging in the air, held up by seemingly nothing. These aren't just meant to be pretty images, they're presented as pieces of evidence, exhibits of a flawless design.
And this leads to a direct challenge, aimed right at you, the observer. The text says, go ahead, look at the universe, and when you're done, look again and again. It's so confident that it says your gaze will return to you humbled, because you won't be able to find a single crack, not one imperfection in the design of the most merciful. The perfection of the creation is basically the signature of the Creator. Okay, so the kingdom is established, its perfection has been demonstrated. The next logical question is, what's our role in all of this? Why are we even here? Part 3 explains the purpose of our existence inside this perfect dominion. Now, this is such a critical verse. According to the text, life and death aren't just random biological bookends to our existence. Nope, they are a deliberately created arena for a test. The whole point of this entire experience we call life is to see who among us is best indeed. Our existence, then, is a trial of our character and our actions. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. The test has very real outcomes. The chapter presents 2 starkly different paths. For those who acknowledge the unseen sovereign and live their lives based on that, the promise is forgiveness and a great reward. But for those who deny, the warning is of a severe punishment. The stakes of this test are made crystal clear. Following that warning, the text paints this incredibly vivid picture of what happens to those who choose denial. The tone shifts from a theological argument to this dramatic, intense scene of accountability. And what we get is this really heartbreaking 3-step dialogue. First, the keepers of hell ask this simple question, almost like they can't believe it. Didn't anyone come and warn you? Then you have the admission of guilt. They admit, yeah, a warner came, but we just denied him. And that leads to the final, devastating confession about their core failure. And this is the real kicker, right? Their regret isn't about being unlucky or saying they were misinformed. They pinpoint their own downfall to a failure to use the 2 faculties God gave them, the ability to hear and the ability to reason. They straight up admit that if they had just truly listened or thought it through, they wouldn't be where they are. The responsibility is placed squarely on their own shoulders. And that brings us to the final part. So after laying out the evidence, the purpose of our lives, and the consequences of our choices, the chapter turns its focus directly on us, the readers,
and it hits us with a series of sharp, reflective questions. It asks us to just stop and think about the very tools we use to navigate the world. Our hearing, our sight, our intellect, the very things the people in the last scene regretted not using properly. It asks, who's your ultimate provider? Who's your ultimate protector? It really forces you to do an internal audit of who or what you truly depend on.
So after taking us on this journey from the massive scale of the cosmos, all the way down to the internal drama of the human soul, the argument narrows its focus to the most fundamental, undeniable element of our survival. It's a pretty masterful way to wrap things up.
And this is the mic drop moment it leaves us with. It's not really a threat. It's just a profound and incredibly humbling question. If the source of all life, something as simple as water, were to just vanish deep into the earth, who else has the power to bring it back? The chapter doesn't give you the answer. It just leaves that question hanging in the air, forcing you to contemplate your ultimate reliance on the one who holds Al-Mulk, the absolute dominion.